From the Ohio AgNet, Voice You Know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Joel Norwood with today's Ag News. The strike officially on for dock workers on East and Gulf Coast ports. They've gone on strike because of disputes over wages, benefits, and automation. The strike follows the expiration of the contract between the International Longshoremen's Association as well as port operators back on Monday. Now, that strike began at 12:01 Tuesday morning, and Mike Steenhoek of the Soy Transportation Coalition keeps an eye on these kinds of things, is expressing concern for agriculture, saying the strike poses a particular challenge for American farmers, especially soybean and meat exporters. Around 5 to 6% of U.S. soybean exports go through those ports, and soybean a huge part of feed, and in turn affects the livestock industry. Last year, 54 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans were exported by bulk, 5.8 million metric tons exported via containers, and of that 5.8 million, about half of that was exported via the East and Gulf Coast ports. The other half, not really affected during this, goes out via Los Angeles, Long Beach, and other West Coast ports. Ahead of the strike this past weekend, Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack.
So I think the administration's view that at the end of the day, the best resolution of any labor dispute is when the parties sit down at the bargaining table and essentially hammer out the differences that they may have.
Should be interesting to see how the strike impacts market numbers coming down the road. And something else impacting markets, USDA's release of the September 1 grain stocks report. It showed old crop corn stocks in all positions totaled 1.76 billion bushels. That's up nearly 30% from a year before. All told, and no great surprise, more corn, soybeans, and wheat on hand in all areas, on farm as well as off. Hopefully market numbers can go up a little bit and help farmers as they're offloading a lot of that grain on hand. And let's talk crop progress and a look at the latest numbers from USDA thanks to the good folks at AgriSpray drones. Pretty wet out there right now across the state, bringing harvest to a bit of a halt. This report released on Monday, and USDA's Ohio field office says topsoil moisture conditions rated 53% short to very short for the week ending September 29th, 35% of topsoil moisture adequate, 12% surplus. 70% of corn mature across the state. That's 20 points ahead of the 5-year average, while 16% of corn harvested for grain, well ahead of the 5% 5-year average. 91% of corn silage harvest done. 23% of soybeans harvested. That's 13 points ahead of the 5-year, while 17% of winter wheat planted. That's actually right in line with the 5-year average. And we do have 67% of hay fourth cutting complete. Normally this time, 14% fourth cutting. Pasture condition continues to be pretty rough, about 76% in very poor to poor condition. And a nice feature this year, look at crop moisture content. This week, corn harvested for grain right at 18%, we're told, in line with the week before, 11% for soybeans harvested, a little bit higher than the 10% average from the week before. Well, folks, time to celebrate. It's the second National Nematode Day. Yes, those tiny worms, they're a big deal, as our own Dusty Sonnenberg reports.
I'm joined today by Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora. He is our soybean pathologist and nematologist at The Ohio State University. Horacio, happy National Nematode Day.
Yes, how are you, Dusty? And happy National Nematode Day, for sure.
Well, it's a big day around the nation celebrating something that we really can't necessarily see, unless it's maybe this time of year when we get in the cab of the combine and we're watching that yield monitor.
That's right, Dusty, and very strategically, the SCN Coalition launched, and this is our second anniversary, launched again this year the National Nematode Day, October 1st. The reason we're doing this is to just bring to the top of our mind the most important pathogen of soybean in North America, soybean cyst nematode. But not only, other plant parasitic nematodes as well. The one that we care because we love soybean is soybean cyst nematode. We really want to sample our fields once we're done with harvest, know if we have soybean cyst nematode, know our numbers, and with that, make a very strategic management plan.
That makes a lot of sense. And for more resources, farmers can visit the website, the scncoalition.com. And as I understand, also some free soybean cyst nematode sampling available, made possible through the Ohio Soybean Council.
That is correct. Up to 2 samples free of charge for Ohio growers. So please take advantage of that. We can help with anything related, soil sampling and SCN testing.
Again, my guest today, Dr. Horacio Lopez Nicora. He is our soybean pathologist and nematologist here in Ohio, celebrating National Nematode Day. Horacio, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dusty.
Thanks, Dusty. Thanks, Horacio. Again, today, National Nematode Day. Celebrate by testing your fields. Fall, a great time to be testing for soybean cyst nematode. Let's turn our eyes over to markets. Some nice jumps up for a couple of commodities. December new crop corn today in Chicago, 4 1/4 higher, closing $4.29 per bushel. March 25 corn contracts, 446 1/2, up 5 1/4. New crop soybeans up 1/4 penny to 10.57 1/4, as Jan beans up the same to 10.75 1/2. Wheat the big winner today, as next year's new crop 16 cents higher to a price of $6.37 per bushel. Markets thanks to Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. October live cattle up 70 cents to 184.48. December cattle 185.18. That's a 38-cent gain. Feeder cattle not so lucky, as November has dropped 23 cents to 244.68. October lean hogs $1.25 up to 83.50. And then milk dropping 22 cents for October. 23.09 is the price for Class 3. This is the Ohio Ag Net. I'm Joel Norwood. Thanks for tuning in.